Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Friday. I am thrilled that it's Friday. This week, my gosh, I was ready for the week to end because for a long time, I haven't really felt like I need the weekend. I need the weekend because I could do anything I needed to do any day. But this week in particular, I couldn't wait for the weekend because there's so much I need to get done. And I felt like I needed the weekend to be able to rest enough to be able to feel energetic to do what I need to do. So happy Friday. I hope that you have intent to rest for the weekend. We have done yet another 5 episodes. All right. I say it again. For someone who couldn't go live once a week, I'm able to go live 5 times a week. Do you understand? 5 times a week. And you know what? Sometimes in life, the Lord will grace us in very specific seasons. You know, yes, there was a time I could not necessarily come live because of things that were demanded of me, things that I needed to do, me as a mother, as a wife, as, someone who just had to fulfill other duties. But here I am, graced to be able to catch up. It's not always that you get to go back and really catch up on some of the things that you have neglected. So I'm forever grateful to be here this morning yet again, to be able to do this with the help of the Lord. Do you understand? God is helping us in this season. All right. This is the season of open doors. And even being able to come here, for me, is a door of opportunity. I don't take it for granted that I come and I speak and there are people hearing my voice. Do you understand? All over the world, people are listening. I don't take it for granted. Do you understand? Even if you get a chance to walk outside your door and speak to someone and speak life into, someone's life, it's not something you take for granted. Many of us underestimate our call, our position, our role. Many of us take it for granted and just assume that, you know what, this is no big deal. Like I'm having a conversation with a stranger. It's no big deal, but it's possible that you are the one that stranger will come in contact with to feel encouraged. Maybe they were just giving up. One of the tenets in my nonprofit, one of the things that I always say, or our mission statement says that our goal is that every woman we encounter, that the life of that woman is transformed. That every woman I come in contact with, by the time she says goodbye to me, she has had a life transforming encounter. Because when I meet you, I'll give you the word. I'll give you what God is saying. I will give you encouragement. I will lift your spirit. Most of us need some lifting. Most of us need the help of God. Most of us cannot do anything except we hear that God is with us. Many are discouraged. Many are down. Yet God has positioned us. The Bible says that when you are strong, strengthen thy brethren. You may be in a situation where now you don't need any pick-me-up. Now it's your turn to strengthen your brethren. So that brings me to the topic of today, married but single. There's so many people that are married legally, culturally, but they're single because they continue to live as though they're single. So I'm going to talk to you briefly about what it means to be married, yet still single in your own right. We know what our scripture is so far as Coach Yeboah, what I do and the ministry. One of the scriptures that we stand by is Amos 3:3. Can two walk together? 3 is also good because that's the Holy Spirit. Can two walk together except they be agreed? The agreement is what allows relationships to prosper. In Genesis chapter 2, where we were commanded to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish, and all of that, there was an assignment given to Adam and Eve. They had to come into agreement. When the serpent spoke to Eve, there was disagreement. The serpent spoke to her heart and caused her heart to have some kind of doubt towards God. In that sense, they couldn't walk with God anymore because they began to doubt God. Anytime you doubt a friend, doubt a leader, doubt anybody, doubt your spouse, you can no longer necessarily walk with them. You will walk around them, but you can't walk with them. When you take a walk with someone, you're together, you are agreed. You have the same common goal. But just because you are around them doesn't mean that you're together with them. And that is what is happening in a lot of our marriages. Many are married, yet they find themselves living as though they're single. One of the things you do when you get married is you move together. You move together. You maintain the same residence. Other things is you put your finances together. Your personal life merges with their personal life. Maybe it's church, maybe it's your community program that you do, maybe whatever you're involved in, one way or another, your spouse finds themselves also involved with that thing that you're involved in. Many people are just married on paper because even though they're married, everybody sees them, they're wearing a ring, they no longer function as married people. Perhaps in their homes, they live in separate rooms. There are people who sleep in separate beds. I've been there. For that 2 weeks, the enemy attacked our marriage. We were in separate beds. But some people take it up a notch. For me, it was 2 weeks and it was like I was losing it because I couldn't believe something like this can happen. But many people live together in separate rooms. They actually have separate rooms that they live in. Many couples don't share the same bed at all. Many couples, they don't share the same bed. Have you shared the broadcast this morning? Have you told someone that we're here? Have you subscribed to the channel if this is your first time? Many live separately. Many separate their finances. Many separate their goals, their aspirations. It's all about them. I'm going to build a house. I'm going to buy a home. I'm going to buy a car. It's all about them. You see, when you are single, there are things that you just do by yourself. You get up and you go. Many couples live together. When one spouse is traveling, they don't tell the other spouse. Maybe it's the man. He doesn't need to worry about making an arrangement for the children. He just gets up and go. Everybody is walking their own paths. Everybody is doing their own things. Don't touch my phone. Don't touch my car. This is my car. Don't touch it. Basically, married but single are people that are legally bound, but every other way, they're doing their own thing. They're still partying. They're still hanging out with friends. There is a place in your marriage life where you don't get to just say, I'm going to go hang out. That's kind of where the enemy attacked our marriage from. Because the day he decided I want to go hang out, I was like, what? Where are you going? We don't get to go hang out. You don't get to say, I'm tired today. I don't feel like being a father. I don't feel like being a mommy today. That can't be. When you're single, you can get up when you want to. You can do what you want to do. You can, whatever you feel like doing when you're single, you can. You don't have to go to school. You can sleep. Go use the bathroom. You don't get to do whatever you feel like doing when you feel like doing it. When you're single, you can get up. I'm going to church. I'm going to waiting. I'm going to stay whenever. I'm going to on a trip. When I see married people saying I'm going on vacation with my friends, I'm like, is this something that you have agreed on? That both of you have agreed that we're going to go on vacation? Is this something you've agreed on? Because how do you make a decision and say, I'm going to get up and go out with friends, just with my friends? Your spouse is not invited. That's out of order. A lot of people get married and they feel like you're controlling me. What do you mean I can't go out? When you said I do, it was basically you agreeing to always connect with a spouse and say, hey, I'm going to be doing this. You're not asking permission. You're communicating. You must communicate to your spouse what you're doing. When you're single, you don't need to tell anybody anything. You get up and you go. When you're single, when you're not single and you're married, your spouse has the right to ask you, where are you going? Yes. Many husbands especially take offense to this. Many husbands, they take offense and say, why are you asking me where I'm going? Why are you asking me what I'm doing? You don't get to go hang out with your friends just because you feel like it. You must communicate to your spouse that, you know what? I feel like after work, I want to go hang out with this person. Just to let you know, do you need me for anything? That's communication. It doesn't mean you don't get to see your friends at all. You still get to have friendships. And I recommend every couple to have couple friends, but also have their own friends. You must have your own friends. But not to the point where the guy has girlfriends and the girl has guy friends. It doesn't work like that. The guy can't get up and say, oh, my friend needs me to go to her house and go fix some. No. No, it's out of order. Remember, I talked about doors that we open. There are some doors you open for trouble. Maybe you have a girl that's single. She's your friend. You don't get up and say, I have to go and fix her bed for her. I have to go and set up her house. That's not your job. She needs to understand that you're a married man. So yes, you can ask for help, but if it's a common friend, fine. But this friendship that you have by yourself, you don't get to go fix things for. Just like your wife cannot get up and say, oh, I have to go cook for my guy friend. No, it's out of order. Your wife cannot get up and go cook for her guy friend. Are you here? Are you sharing the broadcast? You can't go cook for your guy friend at all. Really? Yes, really. It's out of order. If I'm cooking for my guy friend, then my husband knows that I'm making food. And when I'm done, I'm going to send some of the food to my guy friend. Do you understand what I'm saying? Better yet, I won't send. The guy friend can come to the house and come get it. When you're married, you cannot do anything single people do. Yep, I said it. When you're married, you cannot do things that single people do. And I know, listen, I have this debate all the time. There are numerous people I've spoken to who are like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, you can't have a friend, the member of the opposite sex. When you're married, you cannot have friends the opposite sex. Let me explain what I mean by that. It doesn't mean when you're married, you disown all your single friends. No. What it means is that maybe when I was single, I can have my guy friend come over my own apartment. We can chill and laugh and hang out. But when I'm married, it's inappropriate. If we understood how things were inappropriate, many of us would not get ourselves in trouble. Some people, you didn't mean to cheat on your spouse, but because you had a girlfriend, a friend that was a girl who was hanging out with you, I told you proximity yields to liking. What's proximity? You're always hanging out with somebody. You're always at work. That's why there's always, they say, work wife and work husbands. It's dangerous because we always go to lunch together. We always go hang out. We always are talking. So when you get to work, you have to be intentional about not disrespecting your spouse. When you are at work, you must be intentional about not disrespecting your spouse, because there's a thin line where you're at work and everybody wants to not be stressed out. So you start talking, then you're talking about sex, then you are flirting, then you are all those things that we do. Flirting is no problem. It's a survival skill. But when you're married, you don't get to flirt. Did you hear what I said? I don't see any comments. So where's everybody? Did you hear me say, I want you to type it. Flirting is a survival skill. Can you type it in the comments? Flirting is a survival skill. Do you know that? I know this because I did a study when I was in college on flirting and why people flirt. Many husbands and many wives end up flirting in the work environment. The most inappropriate behaviors happen in the work environment. Yes. Flirting is a survival skill. Sometimes you flirt to feel alive, to feel good. So when you're married, we don't flirt. We don't flirt when you're married. Should I emphasize that a little bit more? When you're married, we don't flirt. Somebody tells you, hey, this dress is looking so nice on you. Oh, thank you. That's not the time thank you. You can say thank you and go on. You don't smile. And you see, there are behaviors that are nonverbal. There are nonverbal cues that we give to people that were not intended. They're nonverbal cues. Let me show you something about nonverbal communication. See, when you communicate, there's verbal, like I'm doing right now, and then there's nonverbal. Nonverbal is when you don't say. It's in the way you do things. Do you understand what I'm saying? The nonverbal is the mannerism, is the way you receive a comment. If somebody says something to you and you smile, it's almost like you like it. You see, me coming from a place where I worked with people who are assaulted, I was the first responder beside the police officer. When I show up, I call the police usually. When I worked for the military, I was a first responder for people that were abused, assaulted, and all of that. And I will show up and I will ask, what happened? You said he raped you, but what happened? And then she'll say, I mean, he said this, and I laughed, and we went to the room. You went to the bedroom, inside the bedroom. Now, legally speaking, it doesn't matter if the person is naked. If they say no, it's still no. You see? It's still no. If you go beyond the no, then you have assaulted the person. Okay? But now, the men got the wrong message. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some men, when we were dating, the men would take us out to eat. And after they eat, they think they should get their money back. They thought it was a trade. Tell me you haven't been there. Where the guy takes you out to go eat, and then he thinks because he ate, he wants to eat too. It's like a trade. I pay for food, and you give me your body. But those things happen when there's no clear boundary. There's no clear boundary. So before you flirt, that means you haven't set the boundary. So somebody says something sexual. We don't laugh at sexual jokes. This coach Yeboah, you are too tough, eh? We don't laugh at sexual jokes. Somebody makes a joke about how tight your dress is, and you are laughing. If I laugh, I'm giving you permission to come and comment on my body. When my body is not yours, I can't give you permission to come and make certain advances. I shared my personal story, and I shared how going through that time, there was a couple of people who tried to entice me, who tried to seduce me when I was going through my personal marriage issues. And they were trying to seduce me. And I remember one day saying to one of them, listen, honestly, I'm not feeling you. I said, I'm not feeling you. Because of who you are, I can't even feel you if I want to feel you. I can't feel you. Even if I try to like you, I can't. It's out of order. But some will laugh. Maybe it's your friend's husband, and your friend's husband is making a comment about your body. You don't smile or laugh. It's not funny. Not laughing is your response. You're setting a boundary. You're cutting it. You're nipping it in the bud. You're saying, me, don't come flirt with me. Oh. You're not a child. A lot of times when I hear stuff like, oh, my pastor came after me and he did this and he did, you didn't set your boundaries straight. We've all been there. Let me be clear with you. I've been there too. I know what you're saying. I get it. I know where it's coming from. It can come, but what you need to do is dismantle. You cancel the thing before it gets to you. The Bible says, resist the devil. Is it in the book of James? Resist the devil and he will flee from you. When temptation is coming, you resist. Many of us, the reason we fell into traps is that we didn't resist. For those of you who are single listening to me, those of you single listening to me, when the decision to not sleep around or sleep with a man who wants you is not a decision you make when he's now holding your shoulder and trying to make out with you. That's not a decision you make in that moment. You make the decision prior and say, I'm not having sex in this relationship. You might have to sometimes verbally say it. But you see, the way we behave, sometimes it confuses the men as women. Let's be honest. Men are very clear what they want. Let's call a spade a spade. Men are very clear in what they want usually. So when a man is coming after you, you're like, oh, he's not really asking me out. He was clear. I didn't come to be your boyfriend. Men are very clear. It's women that we like to read between the lines. When it comes to relationship, we don't read between the lines. Read the daddy line. The daddy line. Don't go trying to, we don't interpret anything with relationship. We take it at its word. We take it for what it is. What you see is what you get when it comes to relationship. Do you hear me? So many are married and single because they didn't set boundaries. They get up and, you get off work and whatever you feel like doing, you do. You don't call home and say, do you need me? Is there anything going on? Or, oh, I'm going shopping, or I'm going to hang out. No, we don't do that. I'm going to the bar. Which bar are you going to? Why are you going to the bar when your wife is home? And you too, the girl. You go and sit with your girlfriend. You go hang out with your girlfriend and forget that there's a husband home waiting for you. You're not single. Stop living like you're single. You're not single. When you get married, there are responsibilities attached to you. It's not control. It's not force. It's called responsibilities. And sometimes you may feel like, so those people who didn't enjoy, you see, that's why I said when you are single, please enjoy like I did. Enjoy your singlehood. So you don't enjoy your singlehood. When you get to wifehood, then you don't want to be a wife. The time you're a wife, now you wanna dress like you are a single lady. You want to dress, and in those lines, married but single. Let me explain that also. Married but single. You are going out and you are dressing like the way you used to dress to the club. When you're married, we don't dress like that. When men are coming after you, maybe they will take you as you are. They will take you sexy and showing all of your legs. And when they marry you, there aren't too many men who are like, go show my boobs out there. Go show my legs out there. There aren't that many men who want their wives to dress inappropriately. This one is for the millennials. That thing that being sexy is the thing to be. No, your husband, maybe when you were single, but now that he's put a price on it, let me be the first to tell you, he doesn't appreciate you dressing anyhow. There's something I tell my ladies. I say, you get to a certain age, you can't wear knee-high dresses. You won't catch me in knee-high dresses. No, you won't catch me. Because I'm short as a person, but I have very long legs. So if a dress comes to my knees, when I sit, it's in my thigh. It's in between, is in my thigh. So if you can afford to wear knee high and it's still on your knee when you sit, then take it like that. But if not, you move to the midi. You move down a little. There is a certain class you carry when you move into the wifehood. Now, even single, you should still be dressing appropriately. But once you're married, you can't be behaving like you are single. When you're not married, the Bible says, Paul was telling the Corinthians, and he said to them, as for me, I don't need to be married. I'm okay. But you see, some of them, they can't stay single. So if you can't be single, he says, it's better to marry than to burn. What is he talking about? Burning is now you are addicted to pornography, you are masturbating, you are doing all kinds of things. He's like, don't burn, please. He says, just go and be married and be merry and be free. Then he adds, he says, the married woman worries about how she can please her husband. That's the married woman. She's worrying about, how am I going to please my husband? How am I going to do this? And then the married man also, he's worried about how he's going to be there for his wife and provide. But when you're single, you don't worry about all these things. So he says, I'm going to stay single because I came to do what? Deliver the word of the Lord. I came for the gospel. I want to preach the good news. Many need to be serving God, and they have decided right now they want to be married. So now you can perform your duties. You can be the evangelist God called you to be. You can be the minister God called you to be. Yesterday we were talking about, what did we talk about yesterday? Guys, it was a long day yesterday. Help me, Holy Spirit. Unequally yoked. Yesterday, we were talking about being unequally yoked. And part of the reason why many are married and single is because they are unequally yoked. They are married, but they're single. They are alone in their worship. They are doing everything like they're by themselves. When you're going to an event, you go by yourself. I know people that the automatic thing to do is to go by themselves. When you invite them, they don't think about their spouse. Literally. It's like you invite them, they're like, oh, I'm coming. They don't take time and say, wife, husband, can we make it to this baby shower? Are we able to attend together? You are invited. Oh, my friend invited me. Your friend must know you are married. When your friend, especially a girlfriend, is having a birthday party, she wants my husband to go. How can my husband go? No, it's an error. Unless I say, I don't want to go, you go by yourself. That one is an example. Mm-hmm. Unless I say, I don't want to go, you go by, just go. But you don't get to say, oh, my friend invited me to her birthday party. How do I know if the birthday party, they are bringing strippers? If I go with you and they are bringing strippers, I sit on you now. But you see, the thing about bringing strippers, for us who have lived a little, when you are there and you are sitting there, the stripper is stripping, they come and sit on people's laps. Because they come with the understanding that everybody here came to have fun. So when you bring strippers, everybody here came to have fun. So all of us were going to have fun. So before you come and sit on the lap, I will be sitting there. So you won't come my way because you will recognize that, no, this one is taken and likes to be taken. It's not one that is just wearing the ring and disrespecting the ring. There are people that are married and still clubbing. You go to the club, then the girl comes, and if she was a dancer like myself, she comes, and like a snake, her body contours in front of you. And just like that, now you are enjoying yourself on the dance floor. You are enjoying yourself. Guys, I better go get my charger. My charger is dying. We have 10 minutes, so let me run and go get the charger. Okay. Alrighty. This computer always wants to be charged. All right. I am back. We are back. Oh. Okay. So they are contorting themselves and they come to you and your spouse is not there. So a lot of times, this is just to protect you. This is to protect you. Go places with your spouse. It's not about control. It doesn't mean that by yourself you can't, you can't, what do you call it? Protect you. You don't need your spouse to be watching over you to behave. I know. Oh, I know. But talking to many men who have cheated, you know what the message is? Honestly, I don't know how I got here. You don't know how you got there. It was an innocent. You don't know how you got there. So don't open doors that will bring what? Issues to you. So when you're married, be married. If you meet me, the first 2-3 minutes, I've said my husband's name, like, not the name, but I've said my husband, at least 5 times. Even if you want to like me, you won't like me because I purposely repulse you. Yeah. Everything I say, even if husband doesn't fit, I say, oh yeah, husband. Because what? I'm not interested. You see, when I'm tired of the marriage, I know I can make a decision. Do you get me? But we don't stay inside marriage and bring destruction. No. So I don't have energy for flirting. I don't have energy to. So you said these are boundaries. I'm teaching you boundaries you set for yourself so you don't bring yourself any trouble. And that's what I advise many men. I say, you see, the women, even the Bible said, many women will come and say, put your name on us. Today, go to some places in Africa. The women they are slaying like crazy. Because they think I don't want to be a wife. All I want to be is a slave queen. Give me a car, give me a this, give me a that. They dishonor themselves and their body so much that they don't think they are good enough for their own. The women don't think. So listen, I've seen it in action. I have seen women. And I sit back, I'm like, what is this? And I remember, I think this week or last week, I called my sister. I said, men cheat because they can. Yeah. Women cheat too, but listen to what I'm saying. Just focus on what I'm saying. Men cheat because they can. Because the women are like, listen, I don't really care. I don't really want to be a wife anyway. And the woman knows that the man is married. He said, this is the man I want. You are crazy. No, that's almost like a mentor, like your mentor. May this not be ever anybody's story. That you will bring yourself so low that you will say, oh, it's okay. I know he's married, but he said he's going to leave his wife. Let me tell you, we actually ended up talking about the percentage of men who leave their wives. There aren't that many men who end up leaving their wife. I'm telling you, there's very few men who truly have lost themselves, no identity, nothing, who end up saying, oh, I'm leaving my wife for another woman. The percentage is slim. Very slim. So your hope cannot be in the fact that, oh, the man will leave and come for me. And because he used you as a what? To feel good, because supposedly he's going through all these things with his wife is this, and so he comes for you, and then he marries you. The same way you caught it, the same way you lose it. Life happens and occurs in principles. Life happens, life works in principles. Whether you're a Christian or not, there are principles that are there, that are happening, whether you accept it or not. So the moral decay in this world is what has caused marriages to break. It's the moral decay. It's the lack of accountability, trusting God. Listen, you can submit to a man. Okay, yesterday we talked about men must submit. Women must submit and men must love their wives. What's happening is that women are loving the men, and men also still don't know how to submit. They're not loving the women. The commandment was clear. So a lot of women, they're going through heartache, broken heart, and because nobody asks you to love no man. Then you say, but if I don't love him, how can I marry him? That is why your assignment is clear. Submit to your own. You submit. When a woman is getting married, the question is, am I ready to submit? Am I ready to submit? That's what you ask yourself. Am I ready to serve? Am I ready to do? Am I ready? That's the question you ask yourself. Your first inclination is not, oh, I love him. Oh, no. My grandmother said something. She said, the men must love you more than you love them. Hey, I took it all. All the men that I liked more than they like me, where are they? We didn't get together. Because as much as I was with the men and I knew that, oh, this one is not marriage material, but I want him. There's some things you just want. We want what we want. But I remember what my grandmother said. She said, the men you marry must love you more than you love him. I have friends I told this to, they didn't listen. But when they finally got married, they said, Ruth, I get it. Because the men makes the home. I'm telling you, the men, you are in control of the home. When a man is mad in the house, there is fire. The woman can be as sweet as ever. You don't carry it. Like your atmosphere won't. Do you understand? Because the man is made for dominion. So what he does, what he says, it dominates. When a man is a liar, it dominates in the home. When his energy is off, it dominates in the home. It does. And then what did they say? What you give the woman, she multiplies. It's true. We do the replenishing. So when a man comes in crazy, the woman is crazier because now she's yelling, slamming doors, beating the children. That's what the best gift you give to your children is, to love their mother, because their mother will transfer to them what you gave them. Yeah. If you love your children, you don't mess with their mother, because women can be very crazy. Let's be honest. All right. So their mother transfers to their children. What you are giving her, she's giving your children. So some children are just messed up because the mother was angry. She was mad. She was just mad at this man. And the mother just couldn't, I'm taking a little time. Today's Friday. So I'm taking my time. I told the kids they can sleep in. I said, I think one doesn't have school. I said, just sleep in, because at this point, listen, even the university stuff, we just stay home sometimes. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? That the mothers will give the children what you give them. So the man has this, you take your position in the room and take it well. That's why I took time and I talked about the absent father. I talked about the purpose of men. I talked about all these things because I quickly recognize. We're wrapping up, but share the broadcast so they can watch the replay. We're wrapping up still. I recognize that whatever happens in the home, if a marriage breaks, let me be the first to tell you, as the men, take responsibility for it. Adam refused to take responsibility. That's what we see. Today, the men don't want to take responsibility. What am I talking about? Married but single. Married but single. There are men who say, I don't want to wear my wedding ring. Do you know them? There are men who can tell you, I don't feel like wearing my wedding ring. Really? You see, I'm not against the Ghanaian engagement that we do. Okay? But many people, because they take weddings as the wedding is such a big deal and it has to cost so much money. So many people, especially abroad, end up engaged and they live off of engagements. Listen to what I'm saying. Remember, wedding is just an event, the actual wedding. Marriage is different. You can still be legally married. But some people make that mistake. They don't legally marry. They do the engagement and they live for 10 years with the engagement. When they do engagement in the Ghanaian culture that I know, correct me if you are here and I'm off, please. Maybe it's what we do abroad. I don't know if in Ghana, that's how it is. So if you're watching from Ghana, please correct me if I'm off. When they do the engagement, the man doesn't wear the ring. It's the woman that wears the ring. Although they say that the cultural marriage is really the real marriage. That's what they recognize. The white wedding in some cultures is not a big deal, right? So if the engagement is what they consider marriage, then why is it that the man is not wearing a ring? I want to know. And I've seen here abroad, I've seen many men don't wear rings for 10 years, for 5 years, hey, you come engage me and make me married and cause me to block my chances. And you engage me and you walk around single. So when you go to work, a woman who is just trying to find a good man sees a good man. Now she's flirting with you. You too, maybe when you were growing up, you didn't experience flirting. Let's laugh some, You didn't experience flirting. Now this woman has come and she's saying some sweet words. And she said, because, some of the women, they are, culturally, maybe they will say, oh, Ghanaian women are a little bit more docile. They're a little bit more calm. I haven't found that to be true. But that's what I was told growing up. They used to tell me, act like a Ghanaian woman so somebody can marry you. Act like be a little docile. You're too rough, I was a rough rider, okay? I was just rough on the edges, all right? Everything about me was like manly. My voice was even deep like a man. So you hear my voice. It's not too sweet because I was created to be like a man and take dominion, okay? But let me tell you, okay? So the woman sees you and now she's flirting. You too, you don't know what flirting. Now you are like, hey, oh, can I get your number? And you give your number. You're not single. Oh. When you are single, you can write your number on a billboard and say, call me. When you're married, you have to be careful who calls you because there are women who have no sense. They will send you naked pictures. Yes. You see, men don't send naked pictures. So if I'm wrong, please tell me if I'm wrong. Men, no, he will say, send me your own. Always. So what are you wearing? What are you wearing? I'm wearing clothes. Me, I was the wrong person trying to flirt with. I was very unhelpful. I remember one guy told me, you are too tough. You're just too tough. He says, what are you wearing? Because he's trying to flirt. I said, I'm wearing clothes. Oh, I mean, even if you're wearing clothes, you can kind of say that you're not wearing anything. Just say nothing. Okay, I'm wearing nothing. Okay, where are you laying? On the bed. Can you sit down? No, I'm laying down. You see? So we were just not womanly at all. But some women, they love those things. So then the young man who doesn't have his ring on goes to work, meets a nice American woman like myself. And we know how to do some things. So we start talking and we, all these things. And I'm saying this, I'm laughing, but I'm saying this because I met a guy before I was married. Right before I was married, I met a guy. And this guy was very known everywhere. Everywhere you went, the guy, he was very known. And we used to talk, we're just talking. Now, I knew he was married. So when I said we used to talk, I wasn't talking to be with him. But he was my friend. So we talk a lot. I mean, we were talking a lot. Let me be honest. When you're married, don't do that. Did you hear what I said? Don't do that. I used to like talking and I was almost like entertaining with him, like to him. And I remember one day he said to me, I don't care what I lose. Even if I lose my marriage, I want to be with you. When we started the conversation, okay, transparent moment. When we started the conversation, it wasn't the intent. Because that wasn't the intent, I didn't see it coming. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see this coming. I didn't know he was going to end up liking me. I'm talking about this guy liked me so much. He says, I don't care if I lose my family. And when you are a public figure, you have to be careful. Many public figures were exposed because they connected to the wrong person and something happened. You usually see it with men and women, right? Men, public figures, and then women who come out of the woodworks. Like Monica and this, what's his name? Bill Clinton. They come out of the woodworks. She knew he was president. She knew that she can have something over him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the woman, they will show up. My intent was not that, truly. This was, anything I was going through, I can tell him. So I was single, and it was good to have like a big brother. That's the way I saw him, as a big brother. I would tell him everything. Oh, I'm having cramps. I would call him and tell him I'm having cramps. That's how close we were. And he just fell from me. You can't consider him a cheater. He wasn't a cheater. And he wasn't inappropriate. But when he found himself liking me, he told me, he said, I really like you. And I don't care if I lose my family. And that taught me a lesson. A lot of the things I teach, either by experience, by revelation, or just scripture. But it taught me something. Proximity yields to liking. That's where it came from. Did you hear that? But that's also research. It's research that proximity yields to liking. But I lived it, where he didn't mean to go cheat on his wife, and he didn't cheat, because when he said that to me, I pulled back from him, because there was a covenant I made with God that I would not be the reason why a man of God falls. That was a covenant. I will never be a reason. And the reason I made that, because I was around men of God all the time. I mean, I grew up around men of God. My father's a man of God. I was around men of God all the time. So I told myself I will never be the reason. Because see, Satan is looking for somebody to bring down God's people. I can't be the agent Satan sends. Some of us, we should make covenants with God. And this is a strong covenant. I said, I don't want to lay any foundation to my marriage. You see where this thing has brought us? Single, but married, but single. You see where he has brought us? I don't want to lay any foundation. I wasn't married, but I didn't want to lay any foundation in my marriage that when I get there, somebody will come and do the same thing to me. Do you understand? So I knew, I said, I don't want this life. So I'm not interested in the married man. I'm not interested in. So when it turned into liking, lust, I remember having a conversation and saying to him, what you're feeling for me is lust. I did. I said, what you're feeling for me is not love, is lust. After you lose your family, your eyes will open. You see, in the garden, help me, Holy Spirit. In the garden, their eyes opened and they saw that they were naked after they did what? Broke the rule. After they disobeyed God. After they disobeyed God. So the reason people cheat is like they don't see what's happening. Every day they get up, they sleep, they get up, they go and they cheat, they continue. It's because right now, their eyes is shut to the truth, shut to God. Their ears are closed. The Holy Spirit is trying to break in. Their ears are closed. The minute they are exposed, their eyes is opened. So I told him, I said, this is lust. The minute I allow you to touch me, your eyes will be opened. I was very young. I mean, I was probably 21. But God had taken me through some things. So these things I picked up. And because I made that vow to God, I will never be an agent. God use it. So if you make a mistake, you come to me, whether you are a man of God, whether you are a leader, you come to me. I will set you straight nicely. Because I still love this individual. I still care for them. Do you understand? But I had to pull myself so that I don't become the reason why he falls. Do you understand what I'm saying? I was going to be the reason why he falls. When we talk about when you are strong, strengthen your brethren. This is what the Lord intended for us. It's not enough to say, oh, can you imagine that pastor came after me? No, you are stronger. So when he came, you say, look, I know you know better. The enemy is trying to bring you down, but I'm the person that's being used. Please don't do that. And you know what? Every time I did it, they will come back and say, thank you. They will come back and say, thank you. Because they didn't mean to. Does that make sense? They didn't mean to. Sometimes people are going through tough situations and they end up going outside the marriage. They didn't mean to go outside the marriage. They didn't intend to go outside the marriage. But they were going through a tough time and they met the wrong person. That person is an agent of the devil. I could have become an agent and destroy. As I'm talking to you, this man is still with his wife. He's not the only man, but he's still with his wife. I'm talking about, I've been married for almost 11 years. I'm talking about at least 13, 14 years ago. So do you see, Do you see how 14 years of their life could have been broken by just lust? When you're married, don't be single. Take your husband everywhere. Take your wife everywhere. Everywhere. When people see, some people, we are so used to seeing you by yourself, we wonder if you're married. There is an image we give, there's a persona we all have to the public. There's a persona. Some people, you're seen by yourself so much. We wonder whether you are married, whether we don't even know if you are married or you are single. We are confused because everywhere we turn, you are by yourself. You cannot be by yourself. When Eve was left alone, she disobeyed God and caused Adam to also disobey. Being left alone, it's not good for men to be all alone. God didn't want man to be all in one, just by himself. There was nobody to keep companionship in marriage prevents a lot of things, downfalls. Companionship protects you, supports you, helps you. You need companionship. Do you understand? Sometimes people, I want to divorce. You go and be divorced. You are married, but you want to be single. Now you are single. What happened to your, there's no companionship. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that's what the enemy likes, to have you by yourself. So when you are married, you become an extension of your spouse. When you leave, you cleave. You leave your family, you cleave onto your wife. You leave your friends, you cleave onto your wife. Again, it's not your job to make another person at work or somewhere feel better. No, when I say it's not your job, what I mean is that as a woman, you can be, oh, the guy looks down, so I told him he's a good-looking man, and you are so this, that. You can uplift people without getting physical. See, physical things lead always to flirtations. When you get physical, when you comment on people's bodies, it becomes physical quickly. The emotional cheating. There's a lot more emotional cheating that goes on in marriage than even physical cheating. The emotional, women do it. Most women, that's their way of cheating. When you read, statistically speaking, I check a lot of research because I want to know what's out there. And a lot of women, they end up in conversation. And, our weakness, Eve had a conversation with a serpent, and the serpent was subtle. So you go to a man and you want to tell him about your husband and what's going on. And as you're telling him, he's like, I see a door. I see a door. And he enters the door. Before you know it, you are hiding your messages from your husband. I came here to say the truth, nothing but the truth. And the Lord will help us. Anyway, you guys are blessed. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe, share the broadcast. Make sure you send it to other people. Let them be blessed by this. If all of us had, these truths, these teachings, I believe many marriages would not have broken. Many marriages would not have gone through what they're going through if they knew, Today is Friday. If you have questions, please throw it. Sometimes we bring the topics, but if you have topics, you're like, talk about this, we will talk about it. You can always inbox us, and, the prayer group we are still planning to do it. So far, I believe that a morning prayer will be good. So we are looking to see, it might be either an 8 a.m. prayer or 7:30. It may be 7:30 to 8. I think that's a good time. A 7:30 to 8 o'clock prayer. I think that will be a very good one, 7:30 to 8. So let's look and see. We'll pick the day and we'll send the day to you guys. You are blessed. Have an amazing day. Keep your eyes out. The podcast is there, is on Apple, is on Google, it's on Spotify. And we are planning to launch this course, the Transformational Relationship Center. This is a center that will be coming on live. But in the meantime, it's being launched online, and you can participate. You can partake in what we are going to be doing. All right. So please keep your eyes out for everything that is coming down the pipeline. We'll be sending out the courses very soon. Make sure you subscribe by sending your information through the Google Sheet. If you're not following us, we're on TikTok. Shout out to my amazing assistant and what she's doing on TikTok. I love it. And so keep your eyes there. Follow us on TikTok and see what the Lord is doing in this season. We are taking back the family. I have no other goal but to make sure kingdom homes are restored. Many homes have broken out of ignorance. Out of ignorance. The enemy came striking, and there was nobody there to stand with you. And somebody told you, oh, leave them, just leave the marriage. You don't need to leave it. And you decided to leave. Now, look at your life. You're thinking, hey, I shouldn't have left that marriage. That marriage could have been fixed. And many also rush and get married. And then you find out after you're married, you are doing this, you're doing that. You're doing everything by yourself. Married but single. You will meet many women tell you they are married, but they feel like they might as well be single. Why? Because they're doing the child care. They're taking care of the children. They are cooking. They are cleaning. They are doing everything. And they are working and taking care of their finances. Married but single. Sometimes you rush. I want to be married. I want to be married. Then you get married to a man who's emotionally unavailable. When you marry somebody who's emotionally unavailable, you're going to be single. You are unequally yoked. He can't carry the burden with you. When you go to him and say, I'm having a bad day, he's like, I'm stressed out too. Don't come here with this. A man who's emotionally unavailable. And you know, because when you were dating him, he was unavailable. But you were ready to marry, so you married. Listen, may God help us. The God of restoration. May he restore your marriage. However the marriage is now, there is better ahead. You are meant to be fruitful. The course that I'm doing is called the fruitful course, the fruitful marriage course, because we're meant to be fruitful. God commanded us to be fruitful and to replenish. When you are fruitful, you will multiply. When you're in a good mood, everybody will benefit from the good mood. When you make money, everybody will get some. You multiply and you are of help. May the Lord restore every marriage on this line. And those who are not married, set that covenant with God that you will not be an agent that breaks homes. You're not going to be a home wrecker. There are women that have home wrecker on their profile. It's on their resume that they are home wreckers. You wreck a home, your life will be wrecked. Not just your marriage. Your whole life will be wrecked because you are breaking what God has put together. You are dismantling what God ordained. Don't pervert the things of God. Put yourself in a place where you say, God, I will do right by you if nobody's looking. Two wrongs don't make a right. My spouse cheated, but I won't cheat. My spouse is lying, but I won't lie. Two wrongs don't make a right. So you have to stand. You have to be the voice to speak and say, they may be acting wayward, but I will not do so. Oh, he cheated, so we cheated on each other. Why? Leave the marriage and go your way now. We will do what God says. We will choose the right. We will do the right thing. We will be people of integrity. People that are honest, that are built. People of God. When the world sees us, they will see a clear demarcation, a clear distinction. This is a woman of God. This is a man of God. There'll be a clear demarcation. Because you make a mistake and go for a Jezebel. She's not for God, oh. She's a Jezebel. Then she comes and breaks the kingdom. Oh, look at another man of God who is now chasing another woman. No. She was an agent and you missed it. You didn't see it. So stand in for others. When you are strong, stand in for your spouse. Stand in for your friends. Sometimes you have friends, you have guy friends who are misbehaving anyhow, dating this girl and dating that girl. Tell them, stop it. Let me tell you about you're setting goals, you're setting things for yourself. Now then he decides, okay, I finished messing up. Now I want to be married. Then you marry and you carry all these demons in the marriage. I better go off or I won't go at all. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.